There's a table in the cafe that everyone calls the farmer's table, even though no one ever officially named it. It's there before the sun comes up. The bell on the door rings early when the sky is still figuring itself out. A man steps in, hat already in his hand, boots carrying yesterday's dirt. He doesn't rush. He never does. The day is long enough already. Coffee first. The mug is set down without asking. Steam rises. Someone nods. Someone says morning. No one wastes words. They don't need to. Everyone at the table knows what kind of day it's going to be before it even starts. The talk is about moisture, about wind, about how the field held overnight, about whether today's the day they can finally run the combine without fighting it the whole way. Then chairs scrape back, hats go on, the bell rings again. The fields are waiting. By the time the combine rolls out, the sun is up enough to show the dust hanging in the air. The machine moves slow and steady, cutting through rows that took months to grow and minutes to disappear. Inside the cab, it's loud but familiar. Hands rest where they've rested for years. Eyes watch the header, the grain, the ground ahead. Load after load, the grain fills. From combine to grain cart, from grain cart to truck. The rhythm doesn't change. You stay with it, or it gets ahead of you. Midday comes quietly. Sometimes lunch is eaten in the cab. Sometimes it's a sandwich passed through a truck window. Sometimes it's a stop back at the cafe, sitting in line at the elevator with other trucks idling, everyone eating without really stopping. Phones buzz, messages come in. Someone asks when he'll be home. Someone reminds him about practice. Someone says dinner will be ready whenever he is. That someone is usually a woman. She might be working her own job, clocking in somewhere else, or running a household that doesn't pause just because harvest is happening. She's packing lunches, making calls, driving kids, answering questions, holding the rest of the day together while the fields are being worked. That's always been part of it too. Back to the fields. Afternoon blurs into evening. The sun drops low, turning everything gold for a few minutes before the dust takes over again. Lights come on. The combine keeps moving. The grain truck makes one more run, then another. It's dark before anyone really notices. Finally, the machine shuts down. The engine quiets. Ears ring in the silence. There's still dirt on his hands when he pulls into the driveway. Inside, the house is warm. There's food on the table. Kids are there. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're loud. Maybe they're already talking about tomorrow. He washes up, sits down, eats. Sometimes there's time after. Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes it's a ball game on a summer night, sitting on the bleachers, dust still on his boots. Sometimes it's a concert in a school gym. Sometimes it's just being home, a board game spread across the table, a movie on in the background, a book half read on the couch. The day ends the same way it began. Together. Tomorrow will look a lot like today. That's not a complaint. That's the job. And kids who grow up around this don't always realize what they're watching. They just know that work happens, food appears, and people come home when they can. Years later, they remember the rhythm, the steadiness, the way the day held together. And sometimes, when they're far from fields and combines and cafes, that's the part they miss the most.